Okay, so what we're looking at here is a track that contains an instrument rack, and inside this instrument rack we have two chains, one with an instance of Serum and also a reverb plugin. Below it we have an empty chain with no devices on it. Following that we have an effect rack that contains three empty chains and one chain which I have named huge delay. Now this chain contains a whole bunch of compressor devices, and each one of these compressor devices has the look ahead setting set to the highest value, which is 10 milliseconds. The purpose of that is to introduce a very large processing delay so that we can notice the effect of that more clearly. So without further ado, let's go ahead and see what happens when we move these chains up and down within the list. Oops, let's go there. Okay, so you will have to excuse the very irritating sound. Okay, so first we're going to go ahead and move one of the empty chains. And we notice that the audio is not affected. It continues to play without any interruptions. But we also notice that the user interface freezes momentarily. If we look at the playback cursor, when I drop the chain now, it freezes, then it picks up. So that's one problem. Now if we try the same, but instead of moving one of the empty chains, we drag the huge delay chain. So we still get the user interface freezes, but we also get a massive audio dropout. Doesn't happen with the empty chain. I mean the dropout. With the instrument rack, again we get the freeze, but no audio drops. Oh, although processing stops. So Ableton Live seems to be recalculating their whole audio path. I'm not sure why it's doing that, since these all these devices are arranged in parallel. So the fact that one is at the top of the list or at the bottom of the list shouldn't make any difference to the audio signal. It's not as though they are in series. When they're in series, of course, things change, because, for example, reverb after compression doesn't sound the same as compression after reverb, and so on. We also have problems when we move tracks up and down here in arrangement view. I presume the same is true for session view, but we're not going to test. So let's just test here. Okay, so I'm going to move this track up one. Okay, so three things just happened there. The first is, again, we get the user interface freezing. We experience an audio dropout, and we also saw pigments, which is on that track, momentarily flash by, which it shouldn't have done. You see, the track we are moving contains an instance of Serum. In fact, we're going to show that just to see what happens there. Let's just resize that very quickly because it's too big. Okay, so if we move that track above pigments pigment shows up, then serum comes back again. So that's wrong. We have another track here with serum. If we display that, this one is a bit big. I'm just going to put it maybe here so that we can tell which is which. So if I move my track above that one, you see there's a bit of a dance going on there between these plugins coming and going. If we move that here, which one is it going to show, serum or pigments? Well, serum and serum. If we move that one here, pigments above, so we've got serum 1, pigments serum 2 on our busy track here. Okay, so now we see the big serum, and then here we see again the big serum. But if we put pigments at the top, let's see, now we see pigments, no, sorry, okay, so we get pigments now. So it sort of depends on which plugin is at the top and at the bottom, which one it chooses to flash by.